All right, we made it back. A lot of ice out there. If you are doing delivery, you're gonna get every single order. But you have to watch out on the bridges, especially on the highways. And then I'm sure if you're doing whatever you're doing, whether it be Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever it may be, they'll probably try to do some logistics for you so you don't have to go over some of those bridges and stuff. I hope they do. And this is where all not the hackers, but the IT guys, okay? So all the Zuckerbergs out there really get on those computers and start moving their fingers. So we'll have to see. And then, you know, it's pretty bad out there, right? How's Kitty?
Kitty's good.
The kitty's okay.
Yeah,
so.
in Texas, they get, the kitty looking right there. They get kind of crazy. Crazy with the cheese whiz. Right, kitty? Crazy with the cheese whiz.
Good morning. The weather today is about 33 degrees Fahrenheit. It is February 2, 2023. Now, we may have some snow between 4 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. About a 30% chance, but the weather is going to stay at about 33, 34. So right when it hits the ground, it's going to melt, but there's already ice on the ground. Later tonight, after the sun goes down, it's going to get to about 32. So what we see that's going to fall between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. most likely might freeze tonight. Tomorrow, they're expecting golden sunshine. But right now, there are no blue skies and no golden sunshine. Blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way.
Sorry, I have to put drinks in your condo, kitty. There we go.
To redesign this because Kitty was getting into my file folder thing right here. So okay, let's put this over here. A little better lighting. Okay.
Take a nap till 8. Yeah, then you're 9. Here, I'll give you a little bit more.
Just put it by the keys.
I know, that's what I'm doing, sir.
There you go, Kitty. A couple tacos. And we're gonna go out in the snow and drop food at your doorstep. And welcome to the Please Subscribe show. Might try to put this on there too. There we go. A little bit more, yeah. All right, Kitty. Watch over Linda. Don't do anything I would do. And I'll bring you back some Fancy Feast or Tastefuls or whatever it is that you like. You like Friskies? All right, maybe some of those too. Still in February 2, 2023, and is kind of a weather report. We are gonna pick food up and drop it off at your doorstep. We're dealing with 36 degrees. Well, 35, just went down one notch. That's probably inside rather than outside. So there it is, 168,754. And I gotta find a good spot. You can see all of this right here. Driver's going like, he must be from the north. Must be a Yankee, as we say. A Yankee driving like a madman. Texas is doing a little bit better on scraping the ice up. Usually when we see a snowflake, we flip out, but I see more trucks and things like that that has snowplow stuff on it, so we'll see. That was a lot of ice that came off the top of his vehicle there. All right, I left my it's like a thermostat kind of thing. You know, it's not a thermostat. I'm trying something else. Okay, thermos cup. It's like a container, a cup container. I left it in the cat condo. I put it in there so Kitty doesn't knock it over. It's like a truck's coming over this way. It's like it's a cup. It's like a thermal cup. I left it in the cat condo, and Kitty won't be able to get it, but it had a little bit of soda in it. It had some ice, so it's all melting. That's what's going on in my head right now. But anyway, I will probably most likely have to stop off and get some gasoline. This is the Please Subscribe show, and I'm on icy roads. All right, check out the Thin Ice. It's called Thin Ice. It's got Greg Kinnear in it, another good actor, great actor. It's got a guy named Billy Coldrip. I think he did The Elephant Man on Broadway. Great actor, Billy Coldrip's one of my favorites. And then it's got a cat named Bob Balaban, who's worked with Spielberg in Close Encounters and a bunch of other stuff. Really, really good movie. I was surprised. It caught me off guard. I was like, wow, this is a pretty good movie. But the murder doesn't happen until the first 40 minutes, and then there's a twist ending. So I can't necessarily say it was a complete murder, but the movie's a heck of a sleeper, and it's got that noir kind of feel. But it was fun. It was fun. It also make a pretty good play too. It's a good restaurant there, Eatsies. We'll be passing a little segment of it in just a second. You can see it's still got some ice. Now you can see quite a bit of the ice right here in the trees this way. See the branch right here. So this is stuff you have to kind of watch out a little bit. It's not like, oh, it's free for all, let's just go crazy. It's not like just, you know, drive crazy, but there's gonna be little ice patches and things like that. You can see there's plenty of people on the road. It's, like I said, 34 degrees. I think
that does read outside too, so the thermostat is outside as well as inside, I think. But Linda thinks it's an eternal thermostat. Temperature gauge, I guess is a better word. It'd be nice to know. If anyone knows, leave a comment. You can see there's ice on the road right here. Quite a bit. It's not Buffalo, New York, but it's, you know, Fort Worth, Texas right now. All right, we got one at Little Germany. It's a little restaurant. It's a little German restaurant. Linda worked for the main one for a little while until we got ran out. But the Little German one is, I think, the guy's, maybe his wife's. But we're going to be picking up from Little Germany and dropping it off at your doorstep for Deutschland. This one goes out to German in Venice. Who I haven't watched his channel in a while, but I know he's gone through a big challenging time heading back to Deutschland. As ich spreche Deutsch nicht so gut. Anyway, eine kleine Nachtmusik. Boy, I could just skid around 180 pretty easy. There's the Trinity right there. Still flowing. Trinity River. Wants me to spin around. Yeah, that might be a good idea. My goodness gracious. What was it, the president that did that? Lyndon B. Johnson, yeah. He'd show off his scars to everybody. Lyndon B. Johnson would just like walk up to you and just like, I got this scar, I wanted to show you. I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? LBJ, you know, his scar problem. Or, you know, recent surgeries, wanted to show you. This isn't though, this is just a little niche that I did trying to repair my light. My front light. We're going back through here. More schnickly weather. I mean, just really schnickly, which is lots of slushy ice. Just very slushy. Kind of makes you want to go to Sonic and get a slushy. They should do like a white snow slushy at Sonic. That would be a good one, you know, going to Sonic. Can I have a white snow slushy? They just put like pina colada sauce on it or something. Pina colada mix is what they call it, but that would be good. A little slushy kind of looks like, you know, the candy coating on a cookie. It's called icing. Yeah, I was kind of quoting Waiting for Guffman, Christopher Guest movie. I think he's in that. I think Bob Balaban is in that. I think he's in Waiting for Guffman. Anyway, I you know, when I saw the movie, Greg Kinnear, he's always really good. And then I kept watching it, and then at 40 minutes, there's like it's kind of like a murder. You have to kind of see it. And then it goes back and eventually introduces Bob Balaban as like the violin appraisal guy. And Billy Coulter presented. This is 2011. Like I didn't even know this film existed. And he takes the role so dang serious. You know, but he's also kind of creepy. Now it wants me to go this way, but he takes the role so serious. It's not a very large. It's not the largest role, but I've never seen an actor take a role that serious for a smaller little role. It made the movie. It made the movie great. Because all of a sudden the scene opens and you got this, you know, day player nearly, you know, actor, which he's not. He's a serious actor. But anyway, it's like a date player part, nearly, and he's just taking it with extreme seriousness, and it caught my attention. I thought this guy's really good. And then, you know, the scene was really great too. All the scenes with the violin and all that stuff with Greg Kinnear, and he out-acted all of them. But yeah, he only had a small role. Yeah, he out-acted every single one of them, I thought. Billy Coulter was good, though. He kind of underplayed it a little bit. He plays a psychopath in it. And then Greg Kinnear plays a kind of like an insurance salesman that's kind of crooked. A crooked insurance salesman. Pretty serious film. Thin Ice, the name of it. It's written by a woman that went to Wisconsin University. She's a screenwriter, and they let her have the movie. I think she directed the movie. I'll have to go back and look. Anyway, I found some great information about werewolves. A lot of different photos, paintings, well, not photos, but paintings and documents. Every culture, almost every culture, but I don't want to get like too crazy about all of that. It's not necessarily just about, you know, this is a movie about the information of a werewolf. But I think that the lead character, the protagonist, Grace, he does begin to research it because he gets accused of being a werewolf, and he's not. He's not a werewolf. Well, you have to see it. You have to. There is a werewolf in it, but it's that way in a lot of werewolf movies, especially Cycle of the Werewolf. You never know exactly who the werewolf is until later, and then once you find out, the movie even gets better. But I want to do a sequel, so I'm writing this one up for the sake of a sequel too. I don't know for sure if I will in the future, but it is set up for a sequel, and the sequel is even like crazier. It deals with the Bill Jack dog food. You got to read the script, and how this whole town becomes werewolves. And that one's probably going to be even more of a comedy, but it's not. I don't want to say, hey, this is a comedy, because I take it very serious. But there's got to be comic elements to it, because I intended it to be a little bit funny, you know, not Christopher Guest kind of funny, you know, or Will Ferrell kind of thing. But there's a serious scariness to it, so you do get scared. There's scary moments, but there's also kind of comedy, and that's why I kind of, you know, noticed Bob LcSbanD, because he could be very serious. And he was in Thin Ice with the Greg Kinnear movie, but so I kind of was looking at that kind of thing where, you know, you got these actors that can be very, very funny, or they have a big career in comedy, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're like as serious as a heart attack kind of thing. Like, but it's, you know, I'm digging into it. I'm taking my time. When I know it's done and I've checked all the spelling errors and everything is good, and I think the structure is good, and I think it's something, then what it is, it would be, to my opinion, it would be capable, or at least be worthwhile to print it, you know, onto paper. Then once it's printed, I'm planning to send it to Grim Life. So I'm sending a copy to them first. And, you know, I'll send it to them. And then what I'll do is, hopefully, from there, we'll have a reading. And then we'll go from there. But I think what I know from now, okay, I'm not getting anybody excited, but I think there are some nice moments. You know, so... And if everything's, like I said, everything can be handled with humanity, scene by scene, I think there could be something there. I'm a big fan of American Werewolf in London. I'm a big fan of Cycle of the Werewolf, with all Stephen King wrote, but also, of course, Silver Bullet, which became the movie. It's one of my favorites. But I'm a big fan of all this kind of werewolf stuff. And I know recently, about 2 years ago, they released kind of a comedy werewolf movie. I didn't get to see it. I saw the trailer, and I was blown away by the trailer. And then just recently, Grim Life signed on to co-produce through Indiegogo a werewolf film that Edward Furlong signed on, and Shelley Duvall, and it's on the process of being released. So I plan to see that too, and I'm taking my time, and I'll know when it's time to print. And then when it's time to print, then I'll print it, and then I'll send it away like I have done. I've given novels to people in pizza boxes, okay? It's kind of right or I am. But I really have. I've handed a novel over to someone inside of a pizza box. I wasn't inside the pizza box, but the novel was inside the pizza box. And I gave it to a friend and just said, here's the novel, It had an etching of Johnny Depp saying, "You stole my story." No, actually, it was an etching of the actor that played opposite of Johnny Depp in Secret Window. Is John Turturro or something like that. But anyway, I had a photo of a sketching of him, and it said, "You stole my story." And then I put it in a pizza box and gave it to this lady I knew. I don't know. She said she was going to publish it when I was 70. I was like, "Thanks a lot." She said, I thought it'd be fun. And then she asked me if it was a poem, and I said, sure. Why not? There is a little bit of poetry. Now, okay, a thing, just as I'm ripping on Grace. Grace has a character named Rainy Love. She's like an ex kind of failed rock star. Not exactly Courtney Love, but she was kind of a punker / rocker chick that didn't do well in the industry, but ended up selling Bill Jack dog food and marrying a UFC fighter who is famous and loosely based on Hoist Gracie, loosely based on him a little bit. He's more kind of my own creation because his name is Grace Lippen, but he has Apache heritage. So it's not Brazilian heritage, but he uses Brazilian jiu-jitsu to make a living. And he has like his own dojo. He's well known. UFC, big time UFC fighter, big time in shape, Now he's at a retired stage. And you see some of his fighting when he was really fighting. And that's when he's noticed by this Gary Oldman type of character known as Gerald Oldman III, who is a werewolf hunter. And he actually really believes in werewolves. Gerald Oldman, it's pronounced Oldman. And he goes after this UFC fighter, and he flies to America because he's from the UK. And Gerald gets on a Boeing 777, flies over to America to meet up with a blacksmith in Oregon named John Blacksmith. That's his nickname, their usernames. Gerald Oldman III has a nickname called Silverfang. So he really has a show on YouTube. These are all like vloggers. All of them are bloggers. And they all have shows on YouTube. And he decides to hook up with him and get this, buy this like silver weaponry that kills werewolves. And then John Blacksmith asks to join forces with him. Kind of like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker kind of thing. And he joins forces and they take an Uber. Silverfang has a little bit of money. So they take an Uber from, I thought maybe we reworked some of that, but they take it from Oregon he doesn't really like to fly because he had a bad experience with flying. So they take an Uber from Oregon to America. Now there has been flights that have been that far. There's been Uber lifts that have been that far, so we have to explain that one. But they do that because Silverfang is a little crazy. He no longer wants to fly because he had a bad experience flying on the way to America. So they take an Uber to Texas, and the Uber driver just loves him. And it's like a very long, lengthy Uber trip. And they arrive in Barksville, Texas, which is a fictional place. We're about to go to little Germany. And Barksville is a fictional place in Texas where the UFC fighter, who is Grace Lippen, and his newly wife, Rainy Love, have moved to. This is a little Germany right here. And they start investigating. John Blacksmith and Gerald investigate to see if he's actually a werewolf. And they try to pull him out into the moonlight because they're complete nuts. And then he has to call the law, which I thought Bob Balaban would be great as maybe trying his nick as an officer. And they interview him and realize that the two YouTubers are crazy. And they're like, don't do that. You know, don't go over to his place. We know you have a YouTube show, blah, blah. So, like, Bob Balaban's kind of their security. And that's kind of one of the scenes that kind of leads up to that. And then they follow him around town, and they have all this, like, think of All the President's Men, but even more secretive, you know. They have all this the stuff mic'd. They got his doorbell mic'd. They go in and they follow him around. He doesn't know he's really being followed because they have these tracking devices and stuff. And they finally figure out, you know, or they come to conclusion that they could actually maybe be wrong, but then they realize that they are right, and there actually really is a werewolf. But it's that kind of thing.